Deep in the wilderness, where towering pines stretched toward the sky and shadows danced under the fading light, a once magnificent Mustang lay chained and helpless. His body, frail and weak, trembled against the cold, unforgiving ground. His name was Dust, a name that once symbolized his wild and untamed spirit. But now, it felt like a cruel reminder of what he had become, a forgotten soul left to wither away. Dust had not always been like this. He had once galloped freely across vast meadows, his hooves thundering like a heartbeat against the earth. He had known the warmth of the sun on his back, the taste of fresh grass, and the joy of running without restraint. But all of that changed when he fell ill. His owner, a farmer who had once cared for him, saw him as nothing more than a burden. Impatient and unwilling to tend to a sick animal, the farmer made a decision that sealed Dust's fate. He led him deep into the forest, bound him to a thick, gnarled tree with heavy chains, and left him to die alone. The forest, which had once been a place of adventure, now became his prison. The chains cut into his skin, each movement sending waves of pain through his fragile body. Hunger gnawed at his insides, and exhaustion pressed upon him like an unbearable weight. He had lost track of how long he had been there, days, maybe even weeks. The only company he had were the distant cries of birds, the whisper of the wind through the leaves, and the eerie howls of unseen predators. One evening, as the last rays of sunlight faded into twilight, Dust's ears twitched at a new sound, a low, rumbling growl. His body stiffened. From the darkness emerged a grizzly bear, its powerful frame moving with a deadly grace. It had caught Dust's scent, and now hunger gleamed in its piercing eyes. It prowled closer, its massive paws pressing against the earth like silent thunder. Dust tried to move, to fight, to escape, but his strength had abandoned him. His once powerful legs felt like lead, his breath shallow and weak. He knew this was the end. But then, just as the bear prepared to strike, the silence of the forest was shattered by a voice. A figure stepped out of the shadows, a woman, small in stature, but fearless in presence. Her name was Clara, and she had once worked on the farm where Dust had lived. She had cared for him, fed him, brushed his coat, and whispered kind words to him when no one else had. When she heard rumors that Dust had been taken away and never seen again, she knew in her heart something was terribly wrong. And so she had set out on a journey to find him, following her instincts and the whispers of the forest. Now she stood before the massive bear, her eyes blazing with determination. The bear hesitated, sensing a challenge. Clara raised her arms, waving them wildly, shouting to make herself appear larger and more intimidating. The animal growled, its instincts warring between hunger and caution. For a long, tense moment, it did not move. Then, with one last huff, the bear slowly turned and disappeared into the trees. As soon as the threat was gone, Clara ran to Dust's side, her hands trembling. His body was weak, his breathing shallow. She knelt beside him, tears stinging her eyes as she touched his muzzle gently. "You're safe now, boy," she whispered. "I won't let anything happen to you." With careful hands, she worked to undo the rusted chains that had bound him for so long. When the last shackle fell away, Dust barely reacted. He was too weak to stand, too broken to understand that he was finally free. But Clara refused to give up. She wrapped her arms around his neck, offering him warmth and comfort. She spoke softly, reminding him of who he was. Not a prisoner, not a forgotten creature, but a Mustang, born to run, to live, to be free. Hours passed, and slowly, something changed. A flicker of life returned to Dust's eyes. With Clara's help, he struggled to his feet, his legs shaky, but determined. It was a painful effort, but for the first time, in what felt like forever, he stood without chains binding him. Clara knew he wasn't strong enough to make the journey alone, so she stayed by his side, guiding him with patience and love. She found a nearby stream, where he drank greedily, and she gathered food to restore his strength. Night after night, she slept beside him, keeping watch, ensuring that no danger would come for him again. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing day, Dust grew stronger. His coat, once dull and matted, began to shine again. His steps, once unsteady, became firm. And then, one crisp morning, Clara saw something she had longed to see. Dust lifting his head high, his ears pricked forward, and in his eyes, the fire of his old spirit rekindled. Clara let Dust go, watching as he ran free. A tear fell, but their bond and hope remained unbroken.